Should I start the microphone?
Yes.
I have to start up the mic. He's cool.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا أما بعد as would follow my dear brothers and in Iman, as Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions يا الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته وَلَا تُمُوتُنَّ وَإِلَّا أَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you who believe, have the taqwa of Allah, have the consciousness of Allah, as it is due to Allah Azza wa Jal, and do not ever think of dying except in a state of Islam. Ittaqullah. This is my reminder for myself and you all today, that as now we're coming to an end of the festive season, and we're now in the mode where a lot of people are getting ready to ring in the new year, we have to have the taqwa of Allah, my dear Islam Iman. We have to have the consciousness of Allah. الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَارْحَامٍ. That we are all asking Allah of. When we're asking of Allah, we're supplicating of Allah, and we're requesting of Allah. All of us, before we raise our hands and start asking of Allah, we have to ask ourselves, are we implementing the taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal? Let me remind myself and you all living in this part of the world that there's no connection between all of those festivities that we have just passed and the New Year, the ringing in the New Year. It has nothing to do with the birth of Isa ibn Maryam or his mother. Wallah alhamd. As Muslims, we have to live and strive and die with taqwa of Allah. Most people in this part of the world and in many parts of the world, they practice these things out of tradition or customary festivals and festivities. But we as Muslims, as believers, we have to walk with the taqwa of Allah. We have to walk in this land, walk between the people with the taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal. We cannot fall prey to our desires or fall prey to being apologetic to the truth. Today, my dear Basalam Niman, on a positive note, I would like to share some facts regarding the life and mission of Isa ibn Maryam, so that bidnillah, us as believers living in this part of the world, mixed and together like sardines with a lot of these Ahl Kitab, the people of the book, we owe it to them, living with them, mixing and mingling with them, and being content and easygoing with their customs and traditions, and partaking with their customs and traditions, without making it clear of our hudud, that we have boundaries as believers. We cannot be so lax in this part of the world just because they are our friends and we don't want to offend anybody. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. We have to remind them. First and foremost, we have to remind ourselves what was the life and mission of Isa ibn Maryam. His life and mission was one of Tawheed, the unification of Allah, singing out Allah Azza wa Jal in His oneness and His worship. Wallah alhamd. That Allah Azza wa Jal sent him as a noble prophet and messenger to declare that and to proclaim that to those Bani Israelites. Wallah alhamd. And now we as believers, we're becoming so complacent and easygoing in our deen. Wallah alhamd. Isa ibn Maryam, he was sent and he will return. But we as believers, we are here now and we should be ready to welcome him when he returns. Alhamdulillah Baramin, Isa ibn Maryam, he was here and his message was one of Tawheed. His message was one of faith and practice. And us as believers, we have to keep this in mind. That we cannot just say that we are Muslims without faith and without practice, having iman and yaqeen in Allah Azza wa Jal. Living in this part of the world, as we all know, there are many different faiths, adyan, religious beliefs and practices. But, la shak, wala rayb, without any doubt, the majority of the people who inhabit this land, North America, are Ahl Kitab, the people of the book. More specifically, they're Christians. Predominantly Christians in this part of the world. So, it is better for us as believers, believing and professing in the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal, to focus on those things which are positive similarities between us and Ahl Kitab, the people of the book, rather than for us to point out and to always scrutinize those differences between us, which will eventually do anything other than drive a wedge between us. So, as believers, my message for us all today is one of positivity. As believers, let us focus on the positive aspects between us and them, Ahl Kitab. For example, as Muslims, we know that Allah Azza wa Jal, He revealed many surahs in the Quran. And He revealed one surah kamilan, one surah titled Surah Maryam. And this is a thing that the majority of the Ahl Kitab, namely the Christians, they are totally unaware of. They are totally unaware that we have a duty towards them. They do not know that. But we as Muslims who profess La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, we have a duty towards them to explain this to them, to proclaim this to them, to make them understand the reality of their existence, the reality of the true message of Jesus Christ was one of Tawheed. We, as believers, we need to point out to them that Isa ibn Maryam and his mother were mentioned in a high status. We're giving noble mention to them in our book on tongue of the Prophet ﷺ, and Allah he had mentioned that. He had revealed a surah Kamil called Surah Maryam. As believers, we should not be afraid to proclaim the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal by pointing out our similarities. Well, alhamdulillah bil alameen. We should appreciate the fact that we are the only true monotheistic deen, religion left on the planet Earth. There are some Muslims who say that we are the three monotheistic faith. This is not true. We are the only monotheistic faith on the planet Earth. And we have to thank Allah Azza wa Jal for that. And we have an obligation towards Ahl Kitab to bring them to the truth, to explain to them our similarities. Allah Azza wa Jal had given us one whole surah named Maryam. They do not even have that in their books. They do not have a chapter titled Maryam in their books. Well, we have an obligation to educate Ahl Kitab, namely the Christians. Who is Jesus? Who is Jesus Christ? We know him as Isa in Arabic. Isa ibn Maryam. We say to him by his name and his mother's name out of respect that he was a noble prophet. To us, he is a noble prophet. But the Ahl Kitab, namely the Nasara, the Christians, they are confused. Is he just a prophet? Is he 1 and 2? Is he 1 and 3? 3 and 1? They are confused about this fact. Well, alhamdulillah. We have similarities, and we have to point out those similarities, that we, just as they believe that Isa ibn Maryam, he will return again close to the last day. Close to the last day, which they call Armageddon. The last day. To do what? Establish justice on earth. And also to fight and kill the Masih Dajjal, who they call the Antichrist. We have that similarity between us. They believe that as we believe that. But why are we afraid to point out our similarities, to bring them closer to us? We need to remind the people of the book, especially those Nasara. Allah calls them Nasara. Why? Because this is something which is a closeness to Isa ibn Maryam. He was from Nazareth. That's why they call him Jesus of Nazareth. We can point out those facts. Allah calls them with a respectful term, Nasara, because they are followers of Jesus of Nazareth. Let them understand that we know a little bit of the history of Isa. We know a little bit about the facts of his birth and when he will come back and the miraculous birth that he had from his Virgin Mary. Well, alhamdulillah. Allah has reminded us in Surah Al-Imran, and we've been ordered by Allah to say to them in ayat number 64, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ تعالوا إلى كلمات سواء بيننا وبينكم ألا نعبد إلا الله ولا نشرك به شيئا. Allah says, say to the people of the book, تعالوا, come to a word between us. Come to a word that is between us. Something similarly between us, which is that we will not worship anyone except Allah. We will not worship anyone except Allah. And we will not associate any partners with Allah. وَلَا إِلَّا نَعْبُدُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَلَا نُشْرِكْ بِهِ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُنَا بَعْضًا أَرْبَابًا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ فَإِنْ تَوَلَّوْا فَقُولُوا أَشْهَدُ بِأَنَّا مُسْلِمُونَ. And we will not have any other deities. أَرْبَابٍ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. We will not worship anything other than Allah. We will not join anything in worship with Allah Azza wa Jal. And if they turn away, then we have to tell them, bear witness that we are Muslimun. Today, my dear Basalam Iman, I want to remind us of an incident which had taken place in the time of Isa ibn Maryam and his Hawariyun, his disciples. And this incident I want to narrate to you so that you can narrate it to your Christian friends or co-workers or classmates. This story has been narrated in the Quran in Surah Ma'idah, close to the end of Surah Al-Ma'idah. And this is the theme of the surah, is about what happened in the end of the surah. And I advise all of us to go back and read Surah Al-Ma'idah, whether it's in English, Urdu, whatever language you understand, and look at the points. Allah just speaks about the miracles that took place on the hands of Isa ibn Maryam, Bismillah, all by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal reminds us at the end, Akhir Surah Ma'idah, that one day, Isa ibn Maryam, he commanded his Hawariyun, his disciples, to fast for 3 days. Fast for 3 days. And when they came to the end of their fasting, they requested Isa ibn Maryam, can you supplicate to Allah and ask him to send down to us a ma'idah, a table spread with food on it from the heavens. So there will be for us a day of festivities, Eid, for the first of us and the last of us. And that we'll know that Allah Azza wa Jal, He had accepted our fasting from us. What did Isa ibn Maryam say to them? Ittaqullah. Ittaqullah. Fear Allah. Be cautious of Allah. But they kept insisting on this thing. They kept requesting of this thing. They kept insisting and requesting. So what did Isa ibn Maryam do? Allah Azza wa Jalla says, قال عيسى بن مريم اللهم ربنا أنزل علينا مائدة من السماء تكون لنا عيدا لأولنا وآخرنا وآيات منك ورزقنا أنت خير الرازقين. Allah Azza wa Jalla says that Isa ibn Maryam, he said clearly, Allahumma, O our Lord, send down for us a table spread, a ma'idah, from the earth, from the sky, that it would be a day of festivity for us. A day of festivity for us, for the first of us and the last of us, and assigned from you. And you are the best of providers. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He sent down the ma'idah. He sent down the table spread from the heavens. And it was coming down. And while it was coming down, Isa ibn Maryam, he continued to supplicate to Allah that Allah Azza wa Jal make it a mercy and a blessing and not a punishment. It continued to come down in front of the Hawariyun until it came down slowly and it landed in front of Isa ibn Maryam. Isa ibn Maryam, he said, Bismillah ala barakatillah, and he uncovered the ma'idah, and it was laden with food. Another narration of Ibn Abbas, he said that they said to Isa, supplicate to Allah, send us down a ma'idah from the sky so we can eat from it, and it will be a day of festivity for us, for the first of us and the last of us. Isa ibn Maryam, he supplicated to Allah Azza wa Jal, and then the ma'idah, it came down on the wings of angels. Angels brought the ma'idah down, laden with food, until it landed in front of Isa ibn Maryam. And it contained 7 fish and 7 loaves of bread. Isa ibn Maryam, he said to them, eat. But they refused. They refused to eat. They were in shock. Isa ibn Maryam, he said, eat from the food. They refused until he ate from the food. So Isa ibn Maryam, he said, Bismillah, ala barakatillah, and he ate from the food. In order them to eat, they were afraid. Israelites were afraid to eat. So he told those who were miskeen, the poor, the disabled, and the sick people to eat from this. And they numbered over 1,300 in number. And they all ate from the food. And when they ate from the food, they became healed. They became well. And when those people who refused to eat from the food, they witnessed that these people became healed and they became well, they became regretful that they didn't partake from the food. They became regretful that they did not get the blessing, the first blessing from this food. Then it is said, when the Abbas goes on to say, it was said that the table will come down on every other day and people would eat from it. People would eat from it. Everyone ate to their fill. What did they eat? 7 fish and 7 loaves of bread. Allahu Akbar. And it was said that over 7,000 people ate from this food on a daily basis. And then it was restricted to every other day. And then it was restricted to only those who were sick, who were miskeen, and who were unhealthy. And then the people, they started to argue and say, why is it only restricted to those people? Because they deserve it most. And then afterwards, people started to steal from this blessing. And then it was stopped altogether because they started to steal from this food, believing that it would not come back on the following day. So this, my dear Basalam Iman, is a narration about the Ma'idah, the table spread from the heavens that has been authentically narrated on the tongue of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal, He had narrated that in His book. And this is a true fact that we can narrate to the Hadith Kitab. This is something which has been testified in the book of Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Al-Ma'idah. And they were able to get this barakat in their lives because they had faith and conviction, iman and yaqeen. Nowadays, we have faith in Allah, we believe in Allah, but we practice very little. What is the proof of our conviction? It comes through practice. It comes through dedication. This is the proof that we are real believers in the book of Allah Azza wa Jal and His Prophet. We know that there are many miracles that took place on the hands of Isa ibn Maryam, witnessed by his disciples, Hawariyun. For example, Isa ibn Maryam was able to make a figure, a bird out of clay, and blow into it, and it would fly away and become a live bird, bi'idhnillah, by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal. He healed those who were born blind, bi'idhnillah. Isa ibn Maryam, he was able to heal those who were born blind, bi'idhnillah. Those who were sick with a skin disease known as leprosy, Isa ibn Maryam would pass his hand over them and they would be healed, bi'idhnillah, by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal gave him the ability to raise the dead, bi'idhnillah. Those who have been dead in the grave, Isa ibn Maryam was given the permission, the power from Allah to raise the dead. All of these signs were shown to Bani Israel. This is why Allah Azza wa Jal has reminded us to remind each other and to remind them in His book. وَلَوْ أَنَّ أَهْلَ الْقُرَىٰ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقُوا لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَرَكَاتٍ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلَكِنْ كَذَّبُوا فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Allah Azza wa Jal says, if the people of the township, they believed and they had taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal, لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَرَكَاتٍ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah Azza wa Jal will open up the blessings of the heavens and the earth for us. But what do? We belied the messengers. We belied the messengers. Allah Azza wa Jal, He will take us account for what we had earned by our own hands. We, as believers, we have to be thankful. First and foremost, that we are the last group of people on the planet Earth who believe in Allah and His oneness, monotheism, tawheed, wal alham. So may Allah Azza wa Jal help us and bless us and keep us of those people who are true believers in the Risala of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amin. Bismillah, salatu salam ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi huda wa ba'd. From all that we mentioned in our khutbah today, my dear Basalam Iman, regarding Isa ibn Maryam and those who followed him of the Hawariyun, they were very few in number. 12 true followers of Isa ibn Maryam. And they were able to witness and perform many miracles, mu'jizat at that time. And that has not stopped. The ulama have stated that these miraculous events have not stopped and they will not cease until Akhir Zaman, till the day of judgment, till the last day. So these things are not abnormal. These things have been happening and they will be happening, will continue to happen until the last day. And these things are able to take place due to our iman and yaqeen, our faith and conviction in Allah Azza wa Jal. We cannot understand the book of Allah Azza wa Jal without implementing the book of Allah. Now it seems that the only miracle that mankind is waiting for is money, a paycheck. When they get a bonus, when we get money, we are so amazed at receiving more money. This is the value. This is the value that the majority of mankind puts on things today. A number. When we have money, we value that as a great miracle. So let us end off with another narration regarding Isa and Maryam, that once a man asked Isa alayhi salam, how is it that you are able to walk upon water? And there are many narrations of Isa. Many narrations. Some are true and some Israeliyats made up. But the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, narrate the stories because there's benefit in narrating these stories. One day a man asked Isa ibn Maryam, how is it that you are able to walk upon the water? And know that, Madhib Salam Iman. Imam Shafi, he said that if I were to see a man walking, yimshi, or walking al-bahr, walking underwater, or tatayr fi sama, flying in the air, I would not take that as anything miraculous until I weigh his deeds on the kitab and the sunnah. Because people can use sleight of hand or magic to fool the masses into following them. And this has been happening. And you can see a lot of these things going on today, where people use magic to get followers. So when we see a person doing things that look and seem miraculous, we have to put their deeds on the scales of the Quran and Sunnah. So the man asked Isa ibn Maryam, how is it that you are able to walk upon water? Isa ibn Maryam, he said, it is with my faith and conviction, my iman and yaqeen. The man said, we also have faith, we also believe, and we also have conviction in Allah. Isa ibn Maryam said, okay, then come, let us walk. So as they walked on the waves, the man drowned immediately. So Isa ibn Maryam, he took the man and he revived him, and he asked him, what happened to you? He said, I was afraid of the waves. Isa said, you should be afraid of the Lord of the waves. You should be more afraid of the Lord of the waves. So he revived them, and as he took the man to the land, Isa ibn Maryam, he rubbed his hand across the earth, and he took up some of its dirt in his hand. And he asked the man, when he showed the man in one hand pebbles, and the other hand he had gold pieces. He said, which one of them do you like? Which one of them do you prefer? He says, I prefer the gold. Isa ibn Maryam said, to me, they are both the same. Allahu Akbar. So why we mention this is that wealth, money management, is not the end of everything, Madhib Salam Iman. It is a means. It is something which to take us through life. It is something to take us to certain destinations, like a vehicle in life. But our goal in life isn't about wealth, acquiring wealth, amassing wealth. Our Christian brothers and sisters, they have went astray because they have left off the teachings of Isa ibn Maryam. They have left off the teachings of the prophets and messengers. That's why they become al-waladhalin. They have gone astray. They have gone astray into following customs and traditions. And we have an obligation. They are not aware of our obligation that we have upon them is to guide them and show them what is faith. What is faith? What is the meaning of faith? What is the meaning of having conviction in your faith? We as Muslims, we hold on to our iman. I pray and I ask Allah Azza wa Jal that we hold on to our iman truly in these last days of fitna, in confusion, in disarray, where people are following traditions and they're taking up traditions to be the deen. They're using and holding on to traditions as their deen. And we have been ordered by Allah and His Messenger to follow the Millah of Ibrahim Hanif. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. We have an obligation to advise our fellow Christian friends and co-workers. As we mentioned at the beginning of our khutbah, it is always better to establish a relationship focused on our positive similarities rather than our disputes and our differences. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless all of us and keep us blessed and guided ala sabila rashad. Amin, amin, amin. Inna Allah wa malaikatu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya alladhina amanu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barak ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار.